It's April the 1st. Let's read the Bible. Welcome back, friends. Today we're starting a brand new month in our year-long adventure from Genesis to Revelation in just 1 year. We find ourselves this morning in the early chapters of the book of Judges. So glad to have you with us. I've mentioned before that I appreciate all the comments on Facebook and on YouTube and on Rumble and texts and emails, comments. So many people have joined us in this adventure. Got one the other day. Someone said, "Brother Ray, I have wanted to read the Bible all the way through, but always became intimidated at such a large and overwhelming task. You doing this has been a gift from God. It's the best part of my day. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for all you do." Let me just say thank you for your kind words. The Bible is a large and intimidating book. You're talking about a book with 1,189 chapters and 750,000 words, and 66 different books inside the one book, and all the authors and all those names and all of that. It's fun doing this together. So it's been a great challenge and a spiritual blessing to me personally. So just want to say thank you to my friend for those words of encouragement, and thank you for joining us today. Now, about the book of Judges. This is the book that covers about 300 years from the end of the conquest under Joshua to the rise of Samuel and the calling of Saul to be the first king of Israel. In these 300 years, what we find is that the nation, they forgot. They forgot the lessons they learned under Moses and Joshua. Whole new generation came, then another one, and they kept falling into sin. Here's a simple outline of the book of Judges. The reason for the Judges, chapters 1 and 2. The rule of the Judges, chapters 13 through 16. The results of the Judges, chapters 17 through 21. Just wait till we get to those closing chapters. Oh, brother, the stories that are there. It's a sad mess. And what you have in the book of Judges is, instead of having prophets or kings, what you really have these judges who different ones would pop up at different times across the nation of Israel. And it seems to me that you could sometimes have one judge in the northern part and another judge in the southern part. Some of the judges we know a lot about, say Samson, we get a lot of information. Gideon, we get a lot of information. Ehud, we got a little bit. This fella Shamgar, we don't know too much about him. So today, I got to give you these cycles, because it's just important. Disobedience, decline, defeat, desperation, deliverance. Disobedience, decline, defeat, desperation, deliverance. We're going to see that over and over again. It's a message, isn't it? We never really learn. We say, I have learned my lesson. I'll never do that again. And we forget what we learned, and we do it again. So we're going to see this time and again in the book of Judges, the faithfulness of God and the repeated failure of God's people. Okay, today, just 2 chapters, the wonderful story of Deborah and Barak. Deborah and Barak. The Israelites, chapter 4, again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord after Ehud had died. So the Lord sold them to King Jabin of Canaan, who reigned in Hatzor. The commander of his army was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth of the nations. Then the Israelites cried out to the Lord. That's the desperation, because Jabin had 900 iron chariots, and he harshly oppressed them 20 years. Deborah, a prophetess and the wife of Lapidoth, was judging Israel at that time. She would sit under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went up to her to settle disputes. She summoned Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kedesh and Naphtali, and said to him, "Hasn't the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you, go, deploy the troops on Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men from the Naphtalites and the Zebulunites? Then I will lure Sisera, commander of Jabin's army, his chariots and his infantry at the Wadi Kishon to fight against you, and I will hand him over to you." Barak said to her, "If you will go with me, I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go." Verse 9, I will gladly go with you, she said, but you will receive no honor on the road you are about to take, because the Lord will sell Sisera to a woman. So Deborah got up and went with Barak to Kedesh. Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali to Kedesh. 10,000 men followed him, and Deborah also went with him. Now, Heber the Kenite had moved away from the Kenites, the sons of Hobab, Moses' father-in-law, and pitched his tent beside the oak tree of Zaananim, which was near Kedesh. It was reported to Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up to Mount Tabor. Sisera summoned all his 900 iron chariots and all the troops who were with him from Harosheth of the nations to the Wadi Kishon. Then Deborah said to Barak, Go, this is the day the Lord has handed Sisera over to you. Hasn't the Lord gone before you? So Barak came down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. The Lord threw Sisera, all his charioteers, and all his army into a panic before Barak's assault. Sisera left his chariot and fled on foot. Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harosheth of the nations, and the whole army of Sisera fell by the sword. Not a single man was left. Meanwhile, Sisera had fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite, because there was peace between King Jabin of Hatzor and the family of Heber the Kenite. Jael went out to meet Sisera and said to him, Come in, my lord, come in with me, don't be afraid. So he went into her tent, and she covered him with a blanket. He said to her, Please give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty. She opened a container of milk, gave him a drink, and covered him again. Then he said to her, Stand at the entrance to the tent. If a man comes to you and asks, Is there a man here? Say no. While he was sleeping from exhaustion, Heber's wife Jael took a tent peg, grabbed a hammer, went silently to Sisera. She hammered the peg into his temple and drove it into the ground, and he died. When Barak arrived in pursuit of Sisera, Jael went out to greet him and said to him, Come, and I will show you the man you are looking for. So he went in with her, and there was Sisera lying dead with a tent peg through his temple. That day, God subdued King Jabin of Canaan before the Israelites. The power of the Israelites continued to increase against King Jabin of Canaan until they destroyed him. That's the story. Here's the song. Judges 5. On that day, Deborah and Barak, son of Abinoam, sang, When the leaders lead in Israel, when the people volunteer, blessed be the Lord. Listen, kings, pay attention, princes. I will sing to the Lord. I will sing praise to the Lord God of Israel. Lord, when you came from Seir, when you marched from the fields of Edom, the earth trembled, the skies poured rain, and the clouds poured water. The mountains melted before the Lord, even Sinai before the Lord, the God of Israel. In the days of Shamgar, son of Anath, in the days of Jael, the main roads were deserted because travelers kept to the side roads. Villages were deserted. They were deserted in Israel until I, Deborah, arose, a mother in Israel. Israel chose new gods. Now there was war in the city gates. Not a shield or spear was seen among 40,000 in Israel. My heart is with the leaders of Israel, with the volunteers of the people. Blessed be the Lord, you who ride on white donkeys, who sit on saddle blankets, and who travel on the road. Give praise. Let them tell the righteous acts of the Lord, the righteous deeds of his villagers in Israel, with the voices of the singers at the watering places. Then the Lord's people went down to the city gates. Awake, awake, Deborah. Awake, awake, sing a song. Arise, Barak. Lead your prisoners, son of Abinoam. Then the survivors came down to the nobles. The Lord's people came down to me against the warriors. Those with their roots in Amalek came from Ephraim. Benjamin came with your people after you. The leaders came down from Maker. Those who carry a marshal's staff came from Zebulun. The princes of Issachar were with Deborah. Issachar was with Barak. They were under his leadership in the valley. There was great searching of heart among the clans of Reuben. Why did you sit among the sheep pens, listening to the playing of pipes for the flocks? There was great searching of heart among the clans of Reuben. Gilead remained beyond the Jordan. Dan, why did you linger at the ships? Asher remained at the seashore and stayed in his harbors. The people of Zebulun defied death. Naphtali also on the heights of the battlefield. Kings came and fought. Then the kings of Canaan fought by Taanach, by the waters of Megiddo, but they did not plunder the silver. The stars fought from the heavens. The stars fought with Sisera from their past. The river Kishon swept them away. The ancient river, the river Kishon, march on, my soul, in strength. When the horses' hooves then hammered, the galloping of his stallions. Curse Merah, says the angel of the Lord, bitterly curse her inhabitants, for they did not come to help the Lord with the warriors. Most blessed of women is Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. She is most blessed among tent-dwelling women. He asked for water. She gave him milk. She brought him cream in a majestic bowl. She reached for a tent peg, her right hand for a workman's hammer. Then she hammered Sisera. She crushed his head. She shattered and pierced his temple. He collapsed. He fell. He lay down between her feet. He collapsed. He fell between her feet. Where he collapsed, there he fell dead. Sisera's mother looked through the window. She peered through the lattice, crying out, "Why is his chariot so long in coming? Why don't I hear the hoofbeats of his horses?" Her wisest princesses answer her. She even answers herself. Are they not finding and dividing the spoil? A girl or two for each warrior. The spoil of colored garments for Sisera. The spoil of an embroidered garment or two for my neck. Lord, may all your enemies perish as Sisera did, but may those who love him be like the rising of the sun in its strength. And the land had peace for 40 years. It's good stuff, folks. Deborah was a judge. She's the only female judge listed. What about this fella, Barak? What about him? He was a good man, but he was afraid to go unless Deborah would go with him. She was a great leader. You can't say anything negative about Deborah. But Barak, come on, man. Get up. Go to the battlefield. Stop making excuses. Go and do your job. All praise to Deborah and all praise to Jael. It's clear. She knew. Understand, the whole point of the Kenites were they're related to Moses' father-in-law, but they were not Jews. They were friends, if you will, through Moses' father, Jethro. They were friends of the Jews. And when the great battle came, the Kenites knew which side they should be on. And Jael understood. She understood the difference between the good guys and the bad guys. God bless Deborah and God bless Jael. They knew who the good guys were. They knew who the bad guys were. And especially Jael. She took that hammer and hammered it right through the bad guy's temple. She is remembered in the book of God for it. So God bless these godly women. God bless them 1,000 times. And in this song, there's praise given to the tribes that came and fought. And there's really shame to these other Jewish tribes who knew about the trouble and did not come to fight Sisera. The Lord knows. The Lord sees. The Lord remembers. He knows who stands up for him. So may God give us courage to know the difference between what's right and wrong. God give us courage today to stand up for what is right and against what is wrong. God give us courage to stand up for Jesus and be unashamed. So go out today. Have a great day. Stand up, friends. Stand up for the Lord. The Lord remembers and honors those who stand up for him. Go out and have a great day. Guess what? Tomorrow, the amazing story of Gideon. Come back. There's a whole lot more in the book of Judges. See you then.